What is up, everyone? I'm Ryan Garcia from Fireside Yankees. We are live. I've got my coffee right here. Coffee machine being very slow while I was trying to make it right before the stream, which, might just be a reflection of my time management skills. That might be what this is, but I wasn't planning on going live tonight. That's why I didn't get an announcement beforehand. We're going to have a streaming schedule announced for you guys. I just have to make sure that my registered classes, that everything is set in stone there so that we can build a schedule off that. But there is a good bit to talk about here with the Jon Heyman report from the New York Post. If you're here, make sure you guys are saying, "Let's go Yankees." I really appreciate you guys showing up for what is our first live stream of the 2026 season. Technically not our first piece of content, so, can't really say that, but definitely the first stream we're doing of the 2026 season. And if you're tuning in here on the YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe. Again, my name is Ryan Garcia of Fireside Yankees, and again, we really appreciate you guys being here. Chat, we're going to discuss a lot today, from the Bichette rumors, Emai signing with the Astros. We're going to talk about the Bellinger offer that's apparently on the table, again, according to Jon Heyman. Don't smoke crack. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate the advice. We've got a lot of people here for the stream, and I really appreciate your guys' support. We've got a Happy New Year from NYYJ. Happy New Year's to you and yours, and Happy New Year's to all of you guys. Really appreciate you guys stepping up and being here to support Fireside Yankees. Again, your support is beyond appreciated. You guys can like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, join us on the Patreon. We're just going to hop straight into it. And we're going to just, go into the comments and kind of go from there, and then we'll discuss some of the reports. So I'm just going to say what's up to everybody, and then we're going to just jump right into things. So I have the popped-out chat over here. I'm still getting used to OBS. I'm used to my StreamYard where everything's just in one tab, but I've got everything bouncing around. I'm sure I'm going to become more efficient with this as I keep using OBS. We've got the question, do you think the Yankees should be making moves to help show the commitment to improve if they bring Belly back? Status quo isn't showing a World Series winning squad. I don't think the Yankees should do anything for the sake of PR, but I definitely believe the Yankees need to make themselves more active on the pitching side of things, for sure, because the pitching side of things could move quickly, especially with Emai off the board, and teams who I guess weren't. The thing is that I don't think teams are really that in on Emai, and so I'm not sure it's going to be some dam that opens the well, but, we'll see what happens on that front. Again, I think the Yankees need to kind of figure out how they're going to make things going, or how they're going to get things going on the pitching side with the market, but we'll kind of go from there. And on the other side of the coin, Belly should commit to the Yankees so they can move on and get other pieces. Afraid we're going to sit and see and be left out in the cold. Look, that's a really real fear at this point. You cannot deny the fact that the Yankees haven't done anything significant with Cody Bellinger still on the market. And unless they do something, then we can't sit here and say, oh, well, the Yankees are going to do this and that. They're not really waiting on Cody Bellinger. No, they haven't done anything. So you can't really sit here and tell me that that's not the case. So, again, we'll kind of get into this in a second. Let's go Yankees. We got Tiffany. We got DJ Sugar Dad. We got PJ. We got Zachary, Tony, Colton. I'm not. Oh, we got somebody watching from the Philippines. That's crazy. That's awesome, man. I don't know what time it is over there, but really appreciate you watching it. I think it's Inato Napoli. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Please kind of break that down for me, because I want to give you a shout out, man. Paul Knows, JJ Rodriguez, Dave Rice, a frequent viewer here, the Mr. John Davis, Jack, Yankees Girl, Jaden Rodriguez, Yanks Lover, Jackson O'Mara. Happy New Year, bro, for the one and only Johnny Eagle. That is a tough nickname, I can't lie. MLB Channel Guy, Real Lord Coolest, Michael Schmidt, Other Voices 76, GG, G-Men. Again, so many people here tuned in. Really appreciate the support, guys. It makes my day to see you all here and supporting the Fireside Yankees YouTube channel. Let's jump into the Jon Heyman article from this afternoon. Is that? Yeah, afternoon. I think that's when it dropped. It might have been in the morning. But let's talk about the first thing from this report, the headlining thing here. The Yankees, Dodgers, and Cubs have checked in on Bo Bichette, with the Yankees fielding inquiries for second baseman Jazz Chisholm. Now, me personally, I am a Jazz Chisholm guy. So, I've always been a Jazz Chisholm guy. I loved the acquisition when it first happened. I was sad to not have Augustin Ramirez because that was a prospect I really liked, but was willing to pay the cost for what was a need. The Yankees needed an infielder at that point in time. And so, I think that when we look at this offense, we look at the explosion of the offense over the last year. A lot of that has to do with Jazz Chisholm. He's a very good base runner. He's a really good power hitter. But there are some weaknesses he has that don't mesh well with the Yankee roster. Notably, that he's left-handed and performs worse against left-handed pitching. The Yankees as a whole, they're three best hitters against lefties last year, not named Aaron Judge, were Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, and Giancarlo Stanton. Bellinger and Goldschmidt not on the roster, Stanton oft injured, so you don't really have that reliable everyday lefty masher on your roster right now, and that is where Bo Bichette would kind of help over Jazz Chisholm. But I think it's fair to say, hey, Jazz Chisholm, look at his numbers this past year. Look at Bichette's numbers this past year. OPS plus, wins above replacement. They're pretty much the same player in terms of overall production. I mean, Jazz actually outproduced Bichette a little bit more. And while Jazz is injury prone, while Jazz does have his lapses on the field, I mean, Bichette is injury prone and he's a straight up bad defender. Jazz is graded out as a positive defensive second baseman. So, I do believe that at Bo Bichette is someone who I think is often I don't understand the conversation around him just straight up being the better player than Jazz. I personally think that's where we're blowing the situation. I think you'd have to get something of note back for Jazz, and I think you'd have to bring in Bichette, and then I don't know if you could really say you're better off with Bichette over Bellinger even. That's the conversation I have. And look, I want to sit here and clarify when I talk about Jazz and Bichette, I think Jazz is a worse hitter than Bichette. That's I just believe that Bichette's the better hitter. But Jazz is better at everything else. He's a better runner. He's a better fielder. And the offensive gap is not significant to the point where you want to get rid of Jazz to get a significantly worse defensive player and a less athletic player. I guess you could try and move Jazz to, you could keep Jazz maybe and Bichette, but is it realistic to expect the Yankees to move off Ryan McMahon? I don't think so. And look, I think that Ryan McMahon is a flawed player, but I also think the Yankees brought him in because the glove is important for a team that has multiple expensive, high-profile, left-handed starting pitchers. So, again, I think this is a nuanced conversation. I think we can go back and forth on whether you'd rather have Jazz, on whether you'd rather have Bo. I don't really know. And I know that, people are going to say, why is it Jazz or Bo? Anthony Volpe plays shortstop. Bo Bichette plays shortstop. That's the obvious change there. But here's the thing, guys. Jazz is a second baseman. That's the only position I think he'll play in 26. Volpe is a shortstop. Bichette is not a shortstop. Bichette was a shortstop. He is no longer a shortstop. When the report came out that he's open to playing second base, I don't buy it. And it's not that I don't think he's willing to play second base. It's not that he's open to playing second base. It's that the market refuses to pay him as a shortstop. The market views Bo Bichette as a second baseman. The market believes he's a second baseman. He has really struggled on the bases. He's really struggled with his athleticism. His decline in sprint speed is very notable. In 2023, he was in the 43rd percentile in sprint speed. In 2025, he's in the 21st percentile. When he first came up in 2019, he was in the 83rd percentile. So it is a steep, sharp, and fairly concerning decline for the New York Yankees when you're thinking about trying to invest a 9-figure contract into Bo Bichette. And I think there's a little bit of he's somebody who you don't watch every day. You only watch when you play against him. And because of that, you don't have the full understanding of what I don't think people are fully aware of what Bo Bichette is. I don't believe Bo Bichette is a flawless player. I don't believe Bo Bichette is a perfect player, and I don't think the market is viewing Bo Bichette as that for a reason. I think we're seeing the market agree with the perception that this is a flawed player. And kind of the final thing I'd like to know in the Jazz and Bichette comparisons here, I'll kind of read off their stats in front of you guys. And again, I understand Bichette is a better offensive fit because he's also a right-handed hitter, and I simply have to agree. Like, that's got to be mentioned. You can't ignore that part of this conversation. But Bo Bichette, 129 OPS plus, 3.5 WAR last year, 840 OPS, 18 home runs, 4 steals, 357 on base, 483 slug. Jazz, 813 OPS, 125 OPS plus, 4.2 WAR, 31 home runs, 31 steals. Like, the base running gap is significant. If you're decreasing by 25 stolen bases, that's going to matter to your organization. And then from an OPS standpoint, going from 129 to 120 or 125 to 129, is that enough for you to say that you're taking 25 fewer steals annually and a defensive player who is significantly more limited than Bichette, than Jazz is? And I understand, Jazz comes with more strikeouts. He comes with, not great plate discipline. The bat to ball isn't great. And so that's part of this conversation as well. He's a free agent. Are the Yankees going to extend him? Like, these are all valid conversational points here. We can have that conversation, and I think it's a valid one. But is signing Bo Bichette, is it worth the opportunity cost? Now, I kind of floated this in a recent video I did on Fireside Yankees where we were kind of just, I was covering this, and I was kind of giving you guys my immediate reaction here. The first thing that creeped into my mind was, could you trade Jazz for a starter? Could you sign Bichette, and suddenly you walk away with a quality, maybe a number 2 starting pitcher on a 1 or 2 year deal, and a right-handed hitter? You balance your lineup, and you improve your rotation. Is that something you could foresee in this situation? Now, I'm not sure. What is Jazz's trade value? What could you get for Jazz? What teams are looking to do these challenge pitcher for hitter trades? That's all part of this conversation. Chris Bubich is someone I know that the Royals were looking to trade, and I know that they had conversations with the Mets. Those conversations went to a point where the Mets and the Royals were closing in on an agreement. This was earlier in the offseason around the GM meetings. And the New York Mets reviewed the medicals, and it was revealed that Chris Bubich has a tear in his UCL, a partial tear, that he has some shoulder issues. Like, his arm is kind of cooked. So the one guy I would look at and go, challenge trade, pitcher for hitter, good left-handed pitcher who's pitched out of the bullpen and is cheap, switch that for Jazz. That works on paper, but then you also have to factor in that Jazz and Maikel Garcia had beef. Don't know if Kansas City would want that clubhouse mess. There are other variables in there. That's a messy deal. That doesn't work. I don't think Bubich for Jazz can work. And I simply don't believe that is a viable way to improve your roster. Quite frankly, I think that is dumb. Trading for a guy who's got medical issues is dumb, and trading Jazz for that is dumb. If the Yankees got Chris Bubich for free, sure, but even then, the guy's UCL is partially torn. So don't know if that's part of the conversation we can have here. I tried to look at other teams who have playoff aspirations and simply do not have enough offense to get there. The Pirates already traded for Brandon Lowe. Don't believe that we're going to be seeing the Pirates trade for Jazz Chisholm. That's just me personally. But that's just me. I don't really know. I don't really know what the situation would be there. Some contenders who have a bad second base room. You've got the Mariners. Don't think there's anyone that the Mariners would trade Jazz for who the Yankees would want. Don't want Luis Castillo on that contract. Too much money at that point. Why are you? What are we doing? Sign Bellinger for that. Royals, again, we scratch them off the list. The Giants, they want pitching. I don't think they can necessarily give you what you want for Jazz Chisholm either. I don't think you should be trading Jazz for a freaking reliever. The Reds are fun here because the Reds do have Nick Lodolo on that 2-year contract. Could you do Jazz in a prospect? You give them a really good offensive second baseman. You sign Bichette, and then you kind of go net neutral at second, and then you go out there and you've got a better rotation. I mean, that's something I thought up in my head. And you actually decrease payroll by about $5 million on the transaction between Jazz and Lodolo. Maybe you can still sign somebody like a Bellinger. I don't really know. We got a super chat from Jonathan Carrizo, and it goes, would rather have Bo than Jazz. Need a right-handed bat with average power. Perfect leadoff guy. Don't see the Yankees going long-term for Jazz after 2026. And look, I think that's a valid, we can have the conversation about whether the Yankees like I'm having the conversation about like whether Bichette makes sense or not. But here's kind of my rundown. Here's my TLDR on this entire thing. And I've gone back and forth on this before the stream started and in an article. I'm kind of going back and forth here. Bo Bichette, on paper, makes more sense for the Yankee roster than Jazz Chisholm in just offense. Like for the lineup, he makes more sense. But as a complete player, in its totality, in their totality, I simply do not believe that Bo Bichette, I believe that Jazz Chisholm brings so much more than just his offense or just his bat, that Bichette is firmly awful at running the bases, playing the field, that I simply believe in Jazz more to be my second baseman next year, and the opportunity cost has to be factored in here. There is a massive opportunity cost issue here, guys. There is you're not signing Bellinger and Bichette, I'd imagine. I don't imagine you're signing Bellinger and Bichette. I don't believe Bichette's a shortstop. And I don't believe you're getting significantly better with Bichette here over Jazz when you factor in base running and you factor in fielding. And so, at the end of the day, as much as this idea is cool, as much as this idea is sick, as much as this idea kind of like it's fun, it's fresh, it's new, it's shaking things up a little bit, I believe the appeal has far more to do with the fact that it's changing things up than with the fact that, well, this makes you better. So, I simply don't believe the New York Yankees are going to sign Jazz Chisholm. Bo Bichette. I don't know if they're going to extend Jazz Chisholm at any point. I don't think they're going to do it this winter. I don't know if they're going to sign him long term. But I definitely believe that the opportunity cost, because I imagine you're getting either Bichette or Bellinger, is not worth it for the Yankees at that point. Now, if Bichette was a good defensive shortstop or a league average defensive shortstop, I'm all game. Right? Because at that point, it's like, all right, can put him at short. Opportunity cost is you're improving from Volpe. I think Volpe is, we talk about like Volpe and the gap. It's like I think Volpe's about a 2-win shortstop. I think if you can import a 4-win shortstop, I think that's a bigger improvement over like a Dominguez, Hayes going from that to like Bellinger. So, again, I don't really think that's the situation here. So, again, I don't really believe in Bo Bichette as a guy I really want to invest significant financial capital to and sacrifice a player for. Colton Dawson, I do think the math. So the math here, okay, let's break down the math. If you sign Bo Bichette, $27 million AAV, and sign Bellinger, $28 million AAV, but also trade Jazz, $11 million AAV for a starting pitcher, you aren't raising payroll that much, only $10 million more. Hold on. You have to subtract whatever that starting pitcher's salary is, and that starting pitcher is likely a guy already in arbitration, potentially in his final year of arbitration. If he's any good, he's either getting paid as much or more than Jazz Chisholm. He's on his second year. On his second year of arbitration, maybe it's possible he's making less than Jazz. But at that point, you are, let's say conservatively, let's say it's like Lodolo and you say $5 million. Say it's $50 million additionally in payroll. Do we believe the New York Yankees are going to go to $339 million without adding a reliever? Do we think that's going to happen for the Yankees? I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that's going to happen. I don't believe that's going to happen. So, that's where I kind of sit back and go, I'm just not sure. I don't think they're going to sign both, and I can't believe they're going to sign both. So, again, it's not trying to demean. I understand wanting Bichette if you get Bellinger. I get that, but I don't believe you're going to get both, and I don't believe it's reasonable to expect both based on what we know, or not reasonable. I don't think it's logical to expect both. Not reasonable, logical. I think that if the Yankees are going to bring in, if the Yankees are going to bring in a big money player, it's going to be Bellinger. That's what I think. So, we'll kind of see what ends up happening there. We will. And with Bichette again, like I'm casting a heavy sense of doubt here. I just am. I'm sorry. I got to look at the chat here. Ryan is just like the Yankees nerds. They only know and look at metrics, but don't actually watch the games on the field. I guess I should clarify a little bit of my job. I post highlights for the Fireside Yankees Twitter, which means I have to watch every single game. I take about like 10 games off during the regular season, maybe 15 during the year. So that means I'm probably watching 150 games a year-ish in the regular season. And if I'm not watching the games while it's live, I'll watch it after. I do film reviews for articles and stuff like that in order to kind of get a grasp as to what I'm watching. I probably watch more film than you do. Like, not to be conceited, really, really hard to imagine there's anybody, like, the casual fan does not watch more than I do. The, like, 80th percentile fan doesn't watch more than I do. I'd say, like, you got to be, like, a die-hard, like, you've got to be doing it for a media job to say that you watch more than me. So that's my thing. And yeah, I was a Ha-Sung Kim fan. I liked him. And I also said when he signed, hey, he's got shoulder surgery. I liked him. He was a good player for a while. Shoulder surgery screwed him. He was a good player for a few years. Is what it is. Is what it is. Is what it is. Can't do anything about it. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. So let's see what else we got. If only Trent Grisham didn't cost $22 million. Look, I mean, hey, I think that the outfield market has moved in a way where I just can't sit here and say that it's aged poorly for them. Do we think, like, how can I tell you the Grisham contract is aged poorly for them before he's played? Number one. It's number one. Number two, no one else is signed. And it doesn't look like I don't think, how do I put this? If you didn't have Trent Grisham and you got a 7-year, and the Mets give 7 years to Cody Bellinger, or like the Mets give 7 years to Cody Bellinger, you would not be able to pursue Bo Bichette. You'd have to go out and still get a center fielder. With Trent Grisham back, you can bring in a platoon guy with Jason Dominguez. And you can try and look. I think if Bellinger leaves, yes, Bichette's a possibility. But I still don't like. I don't love that. I'd have to see it play out. I'd kind of have to see what they would do, how they maneuver things, and kind of judge from there. I'm sure if I thought about this like for like multiple days, I could come up with something I think makes sense. But I just don't. I think Bellinger's coming back, so that's okay. I got to stop doing like what I think is going to happen. Let's talk about it from, what Trent Grisham opens up for the Yankees. Trent Grisham being able to play center field means that you can do a lot in left field, which means keeping Dominguez and platooning him or bringing in another corner outfielder. I don't really know what that would look like. And very importantly, you can pivot. You can pivot pretty easily. They could not have signed Grisham for $12 million. If the Yankees... There was not a chance the Yankees could have gotten Trent Grisham for $12 million. Not a chance. Not a chance. Not a chance on planet Earth. Not a chance. No, not a chance. Not a chance. Maybe they could have gotten him on like an $18 million deal, but not for 1 year. It'd be for 3 or 4 years. So $18 million a year for 4 years or 3 years. They were not getting him. The market was not going to. The market would have given Grisham more guaranteed money than $22 million. And a 1-year contract, if you're paying, let's say Grisham returns about $20 million in value in 2026. We're going to haggle over $2 million. We're going to haggle over $2 million over a Paul Blackburn. Oh, we could have signed another Paul Blackburn for that guy. No. Grisham's not worth it. I'm telling you right now, the market would have given Grisham $18 million a year, $17 million a year, perhaps $19 million a year on a 3-year deal. The market would have said that. The market 100% would have provided that. This is a center fielder who, like Jurickson Profar. Jurickson Profar was a number 1 prospect who did nothing for years. Had 1 good year, got 3 years, $45 million. As a corner outfielder who can't play the corner outfield very well. Yes, we gave him $22 million for 1 year. For 1 year. 1 year. Versus for 3 years. A year. Let's do this. I'm gonna tell you what I'll pull up 3 different. Yes, Jurickson Profar did get suspended. I'm sure that's why he got maybe a little bit less than people thought he was gonna get. Let's pull up what the market believed he was going to get going into this offseason. So I'm going to look at Fangraphs. And look, you might go, I'm going to look at Fangraphs, we'll look at Spot Track, and we'll look at ESPN. And we'll pull up all 3 of the contract projections for him and kind of dictate what that was. Again, we have to look at preseason. Because this was made before he takes the qualifying offer. So I think it's an important piece of information because it essentially takes away what we know now, which is that the Yankees were willing to give him a 1-year, $22 million contract. Fangraphs projected a 3-year, $54 million contract. That is $18 million a year. Spot Track, MLB free agents, contract predictions. We'll see if those are here. Do they have one for Grisham going into the year? I wonder if they did. Because I don't know if they take those off when they're done. No, I want the overview. Yes, preview. Offseason. Do they have it? I don't know if they had. Let's see. Sorry, I should have had this prepared, but I didn't know we were going to have Trent Grisham discourse. I just figured it's fun. I like having these conversations. I don't think. Okay, so why he never got a formal offer of 3 years for $54 million? I'm just telling you that's what Fangraphs projected him at. I'll put ESPN, MLB free agent. Okay, top contract predictions. Boom. ESPN predicted 4 years, $90 million, $22.5 million annual average salary. That is what they projected for him. So ESPN projected him getting the qualifying offer basically over 4 years, a year. And I know people are going to say, well, hey, we could have done this, that, and the third if we got. Why didn't he wait for that offer? That's a great question. Maybe, A, he believed he could get a better offer elsewhere. I did hear he liked being a Yankee. He enjoyed his time here. Maybe that's part of that. I don't know. I don't think he – I don't know. That I don't know. It's possible that he was just like, hey, I just want the 1-year deal. I'm betting on myself. There are – and I'm making this comparison not to compare him to the player, but to give you an example. Like, Aaron Judge was kind of seen as a little bit crazy from some circles for not taking the contract he was offered in 2022 or to start 2022. The Yankees offered him what would have been the market, close to market value for Aaron Judge. Remember, Aaron Judge had never had his crazy Barry Bonds-esque run from 22 to 23 to 24 to 25. This is before all this. The Yankees gave him, I think, a contract north of $200 million. He rejected it. He wanted a $300+ million contract. And then he goes out and he's Barry Bonds, essentially, in 22. He's incredible that year. That's not to say that that's what Trent Grisham's going to do. It's just to say that some guys want to bet on themselves. Some guys don't want to bet on themselves. Grisham wanted to bet on himself. I don't think it's – hey, maybe he's like, I don't really want to secure myself to 3 years. I really don't want to secure myself to 3 years, 54. I think I can do better than that. That's his right as a free agent. That's his right as a free agent. Is what it is. Is what it is. And look, I want to also point out, with all this stuff, I think a lot of people are harsher on I think a lot of Yankee fans are harsher on Yankee players than they are with other teams' players. What do I mean by that? Trent Grisham, there's not a chance he hits 34 home runs next year. Not a chance he hits 34 home runs. Not a chance. No chance he hits 34 home runs in 143 games. No chance. None. Every single projection system believes he'll be at least 10 to 15% better than league average, somewhere in that range. I would bet, and I'm maybe putting up too much stock into it. I would bet that these projection models, which can look at the fact that he struggled from 2022 to 2024 offensively, can bake in all this information and go, all right, what did he make any tangible changes? Are these tangible changes sustainable? Can we expect Trent Grisham to hit next year? They expect him to hit a decent bit. Why do they expect him to hit? Cut down the swinging strike rate. Swinging strike rate was 7.7%. Zone contact rate was very high. 86.8%. That's 87% essentially. I mean, that's the best of his career. Barrel percentage, 14%, sorry. Doesn't chase, makes a good amount of contact in zone, hits the ball hard. Like, these are all things that at the end of the day, teams value. And yeah, he stunk during the playoffs. Cody Bellinger stunk during the playoffs. Aaron Judge, how many bad postseasons did Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge had a terrible postseason in 2022. Did the Yankees offer him less because of it? Did he offer him? Should the Yankees pay Ryan McMahon more? Should the Yankees pay Ryan McMahon more because he had a great postseason? Ryan McMahon out-hit Cody Bellinger in the postseason. Should we value McMahon as a better hitter? The Yankees played 169 games last year, but he produces. He didn't produce in the postseason. Bellinger didn't produce in the postseason. Fried didn't produce during the postseason. Should the Yankees have not paid Fried? Would the Yankees have been in a better spot in 2025 if they didn't pay Fried because he shit the bed in the wild card round in 24? Yeah. And Paul knows, I think it's a great point. If the Yankees had declined the qualifying offer, they would have to have gotten really desperate. And you never want to be desperate. I agree with that. And if the Yankees didn't have a center fielder currently on the roster, they would have to sign Cody Bellinger. They would have no choice. We would not be having a Bo Bichette conversation. We would not be having could they do this? No, they couldn't do any of that. They'd have to sign Bellinger. There's no other center fielder out there. When you look at the center field board, the center field list, the center field grouping this winter, it's Grisham, Bellinger, and Bader as center fielders you can sign. If you did not sign, Luis Robert hasn't been traded yet. That's a good point. I do like Luis Robert, but he hasn't been traded yet. If Luis Robert hasn't been traded yet, what tells you could have just easily landed him? And imagine if and he cost $20 million anyways. He cost $20 million anyways. He didn't hit last year anyways. If they could have traded for him, if they could have traded for Luis Robert, why didn't he trade for Luis Robert? Why has no one traded for Luis Robert? If you could easily trade for Luis Robert, why has he not been acquired yet? The Mets like him. The Reds like him. The Phillies like him. Hell, the Yankees can get a center fielder. Bader's. I don't think Harrison Bader's great. I don't want to give him guaranteed money. Is there somebody else? Was there another center fielder who was so clearly, so obviously a more reliable option than Trent Grisham in center field next year? Is there another option out there? I like Luis Robert. Don't love him. Cody Bellinger, so again, we're having the conversation of you must sign Cody Bellinger then. You cannot do anything other than sign Cody Bellinger if you don't bring back Trent Grisham. You can't have Trent and Grisham. You can only have one. Jazz in center field's fun. It's fun. What if he doesn't want to play center field? What if he can't really handle it anymore? These are all parts of the conversation. The Yankees don't want to play Jason in center field. They don't think he can do it. Buxton hasn't been traded. Doesn't look like he'll get traded right now. When we talk about this center field market, I'd roll with Jazz, Dominguez, Jones, or you would not Spencer Jones. You'd roll with Spencer Jones over Trent Grisham. Come on, guys. Come on. That is crazy talk. Spencer Jones, Dave asked if your priority is still starting pitcher over bat. Honestly, yeah, you need an arm badly. How do I put this? The Yankees do not have enough starting pitching. The Yankees do not have enough starting pitching. They do not have a starting pitcher. A starting pitching depth outside of their starting five. Elmer Rodriguez is not a starting pitcher that you can rely upon to go into 2026 on opening day and given the pressure of it doesn't matter how you perform, you're going to have to pitch to start because somebody's going to get hurt. Every year somebody gets hurt. And that's not even factoring the fact that Elmer could get hurt. They don't have a number 6 starter, I think. I think their rotation in the mainline rotation needs some support. So, yeah. And that's where I'm at with this. I know I got a question earlier, why did Tatsuya Emai go for so cheap? Because, we're talking about starters right now. The Yankees, I think, were in line with every other major league team and not really believing in Tatsuya Emai, which I don't know if I agree with. I did hear some shaky stuff with his off-field, his makeup. There are concerns about injury risk. There are some concerns there that clearly were greater than I gave credence for. I personally look at $63 million. At $63 million, I'm willing to do it. I would be willing to take that risk. That's me. Now, I don't know as much about Emai as teams do, and other teams clearly did not value him the way that the public valued him. But there were concerns about his off-field. There were concerns about him that clearly were reflected in these contract offers. This was a guy expected to get $100 million plus, and he didn't get $100 million plus. Yanks were fine bringing in Stroman for $18.5. Couldn't offer something for Emai. Would making a contract offer that was not good in hindsight, how would that be corrected by making a contract offer that they don't believe is good currently? I think the correlation there's no correlation there, in my opinion. I think that's just Yankee fans being upset. There's no correlation there. The guy got $18 million a year, and you offered Stroman $18.5. What does that mean with each other? What does that have to do with the other? What does one have to do with the other? One guy, well, you know what? The Stroman contract didn't work out well, so why didn't they offer it to Emai? If because you offered Stroman $18 million, you would be willing to offer somebody a contract that you don't really like, does that work? Does that make any sense? Right? Again, we're talking about making sense. Where does that make sense for the Yankees? They see Stroman is worth $18 million and but Emai not as good. It's not just $18 million. You're paying the posting fee as well. And if that player is good, then they opt out. You really only sign them for 1 year. You're paying more than $18 million. But that's neither here nor there. Do I agree with that assessment? No, I don't agree with the assessment. I think Emai is worth $18 million. But I would not say, well, you paid $18 million for a guy that I don't think you should have paid in hindsight. And then, man, you should have paid a guy you don't think is worth $18 million to correct that. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Stroman was bad with the Yankees. I didn't think Stroman was good. The contract fucking sucked. Contract was terrible. Contract isn't good. I would have given the contract Emai got to Emai. Let me clarify this. I would have paid Emai. Oh, what just fell? Oh, just this. I would have paid Emai what he got. I would have given him that contract. With that being said, I would not ask an organization to make up for giving a contract that wasn't good by giving out a contract they don't want to give out. My evaluation of Tatsuya Emai and the Yankees' evaluation of Tatsuya Emai is different. The Yankees' evaluation of Tatsuya Emai was in line with the evaluation that 29 other baseball teams had. This is not a Yankee-specific issue. This is not the Yankees only. This is not the Yankee. The Mets gave Montas $18 million. They didn't give Emai $18 million. The Dodgers gave Tanner Scott $20 million. They give Emai $18 million. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep criticizing every team for this. The Red Sox gave Walker Buehler $20 million. They didn't give $18 million to Emai. The Blue Jays gave Santander $18 million. They couldn't give $18 million to Emai. The trying to think of more contenders here. What other teams are good at baseball? Who the fuck are the Padres gave like $300 million to Bogarts. Like, point is, we can do this for every team in baseball. You handed out a bad contract, but you couldn't hand out a similar contract like that to Emai. Like, 10 other teams fucking did that. 10 other fucking teams did that. 10 other teams you could do it for. Come on. The Angels gave $20 million for Kikuchi. Couldn't give $18 million for Emai? Yeah, we're talking about the Yankees, but when you're making the point for the Yankees, if you're making the point for the Yankees and then saying they're distinctly stupid for not doing it, you should go down the list for every single team in baseball and say they're not stupid for it, they're stupid for it, they're stupid for it, they're stupid for it, they're stupid for it as well. The Dodgers did not want to give this guy money. The Mets did not want to give this guy money. Are those teams cheap? Are the Mets and Dodgers cheap? Are the Mets and Dodgers cheap? I would like everyone. Are the Mets and Dodgers cheap teams? Please, go ahead, tell me. Because if again, I'm not saying I would have paid Emai that contract. I would have. But at the same time, if we're going to pretend that the Yankees distinctly fucked up here in a way that other teams didn't fuck up, we're being crazy. Are the Mets cheap? Are the Mets cheap? He didn't want to play. He would have played in hell if they offered him more money. Does nobody have any suspicion about the fact that this guy was set to get $150 million and nobody in baseball beat an offer of $60 million? Do we have to make everything so much about the Yankees this, the Yankees that? The other teams are stupid for it. We care about the Yankees. That's fair. That's fine. But this is not a uniquely Yankee issue. Everybody in baseball didn't want him. The Yankees gave $60 million to McMahon and didn't give $18 million to Emai. 2 teams in baseball gave $60 million to McMahon. 1 in baseball gave $18 million to Emai. 2-1. 2-1. So, again, even that conversation doesn't make sense. I would have wanted Emai on that contract. I thought he was worth that money. What if he doesn't pitch well? Are you guys going to come back in the chat and go, man, we were so wrong. I'm so sorry, Brian Cashman. I'm so sorry, Brian Cashman. I apologize. And I also have to ask, why is there so much hate about Ryan McMahon here? Why is there, please, someone, real question here. Why is it that Ryan McMahon is not a better player than you think? Ryan McMahon had a 286 average and slugged .500 in the postseason. Should he not be considered a better player than you think he did because he produced in the big leagues? In the postseason, sorry. Ryan McMahon hit in the postseason. Everyone has told me, can't think Trent is good, can't think Bellinger is good. Can't think Jazz is good, can't think this guy is good, can't think any of these guys are good because they didn't hit well in the postseason. Ryan McMahon killed in the postseason this year. Was great in the postseason. So should we consider Ryan McMahon? Should we consider, no, hold on. Should we consider Ryan McMahon? Should we consider Ryan McMahon a good hitter because he played well in the postseason? Because I don't think we should. I don't. But we didn't do that for Trent Grisham. Is Ryan McMahon a better player because Ryan McMahon played well in the postseason? No. The answer's no. Answer's just no. No, it was an outlier. Ryan McMahon is not a 130 OPS plus hitter. Ryan McMahon's not good at baseball offensively. He's a great defender. He can't hit. We know this. We're all aware of this. He's a great defensive player. Can't hit. We are aware of this. This is beautiful. The playoffs are a small sample size and everything gets magnified. Rocky Rivera, that is on the nose. On the nose. On the nose. On the nose, fellas. Let's keep talking about some other things. The Yankees have an offer on the table for Cody Bellinger. The Yankees have an offer on the table for Cody Bellinger. I think I buy it. I think I buy it from Heyman. I know that John Heyman's very close with the Scott Boras camp, but I don't think he's I personally don't think he's going to be somebody who we, like, I don't think he's making up offers being made. That's my thing. I don't think that doesn't make sense to me. I think his offensive, oh, God, I need to find myself. I think his offer that he's got on the table is a real one. So, because of that, I think that we're nearing the end of this conversation with Bellinger. Because Cody Bellinger is someone who is... The Yankees don't make formal contract offers until they start thinking, all right, I think we're kind of like nearing the end of this. Offer stage is when we start getting there. There's no report of the offer. There's no report of what that offer is. So we're playing a guessing game. I would imagine the Yankees are in the 5 to 6 year range. I'm guessing. Just guessing. I don't think they would go anything. I'm honestly not even sure they're going to go to 6 years, but that's just a guess. Look, if it's like a 5-year, $140 million deal or a 6-year, $150 million deal, am I stunned by it? Or am I, like, thrilled with it? I'm not thrilled. It's not a great contract, but he's a good player, and he makes you better. And I think that's part of this conversation. Like, you are a better team with Cody Bellinger on it than without it. Because he hits lefties. That's a big part of this, and he's a really good defensive left fielder. The Bichette rumors to finalize the Bellinger contract would Heyman put something out there to like ruin something for Boris? Like, I don't know if I'd say that. I don't think that's a leverage thing. I think the Yankees did check in, but I don't think it's a leverage thing against Bellinger. I think it's just a detail. I do think it's being overplayed. I think it's overplayed. Jonathan Carrizzo with another super chat. So if the Yankees sign another right-handed bench piece, the Yankees only take Wells, Rice as catchers into the season. I think Ascar will make the team unless they add another catcher. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I think. I think the Yankees would roll with both. 5 for 140, yeah, I would do it. Like if Bellinger tells the Yankees 5 for 140 gets it done, yeah, I do that in a heartbeat. I'm just telling you. I'm not saying it's a thrilling, beautiful underpay of a contract. I'm just telling you that I would, that you're a better team. Like, you're happy, you're good, everyone's happy, everyone's good, we're good. The Yankees are a better team. Done. They're a better team. Bellinger thing is done. You handle it, right? Look, let's pick someone. I think it's a good conversation. Do you think the Yankees think their offense is good enough if they get Bellinger? Because it's not. Let's have the conversation. Let's have this conversation about the Yankee offense. The Yankees, I think you have to split their offense into versus lefties and versus righties, because there's a platoon in the lineup with McMahon and Rosario, and that definitely does change how you view those independent matchups in those situations. So let's look at it against righties. Grisham, Judge, Rice, Stanton, or I guess it'd be Grisham, Judge. Actually, I would go Rice, Judge, Bellinger, Stanton, Grisham, or Chisholm, Grisham. Then go, like, I don't know, Caballero, McMahon, something in that range. Maybe go 2 lefties to start. Point is, again, let's do it by position. I'm not doing a lineup order. Fuck this. I clearly, my brain's not there right now. We'll go from left to right. Bellinger, Grisham, Judge, McMahon, Caballero for now because Volpe's hurt. Jazz, Rice, Wells behind the dish, Stanton at DH. Now you might go, this lineup sucks. Okay. Who is the firmly below average hitter against right-handed pitching in that group? It's Caballero / Volpe. It's shortstop. Shortstop is the firmly below average hitter against righties. You might go McMahon. McMahon is a league average hitter against righties. He's been a league average hitter against righties over the last 5 years. He's always hovered around the league average hitter versus righties range. And, I've got to be frank with you guys. I don't believe in the shortstop position to get any offense. I would love like a Nico Horner to be the shortstop. I really don't believe in the shortstop position to hit. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I think it's going to be firmly below average versus righties especially. Against lefties, a little different. Volpe hits a little bit against lefties, and Caballero really hits against lefties. So, that's something that I think we'll get into lefties in a bit. If you have that starting 9, again, you've got one firmly below average hitter against righties in that lineup. One. I think it's a good lineup because of it. You've got one. You've only got one. If you got 8 average, well, it's not 8 average. You got a couple of average ones. You got a bunch of above average ones, and you got the best player in baseball in Aaron Judge. And for the platoon argument, it doesn't work because teams just deploy bullpen arms to counter that. No, that's not how that works. You can basically fix that. You can change that up. You can just throw Rosario when they throw in a lefty. And if a starter is knocked out early, early enough where like the bullpen's coming in the 4th inning, you're probably scored enough runs where you're fine. You've probably scored enough. So I don't think that provides, credence to that argument. I'd also like to say that, again, I know people don't love projections, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 that's come out. I've got to check all of them. Steamer, the Bat X. Is ATC dropped yet? No. So it's just Step Charts is just Steamer. So, don't really care for that one. All of them project the Yankees to be the best offense in the American League. They show how good they were in the playoffs, didn't they? Again, Joseph, to kind of throw the argument back in your face, is Ryan McMahon a better hitter than Cody Bellinger? Because if we're judging 7 games and we're weighing it greater than 162 games, then like Ryan McMahon is your second best hitter. If the answer is no, which I think it's all of our answers, which is that Ryan McMahon's not a good hitter, then you got to take those 7 games and go, all right, they happened, they sucked. It sucks to get knocked out. It was embarrassing, terrible, all of those things. All those emotions are real. They're true. It sucked. We all watched. We hated the ALDS. It was horrible. Horrible. All right. Got that out of the way. Why would we don't value the postseason to that degree? No one is saying McMahon's better than Cody. I'm just saying if we weigh the postseason that heavily, we have to that means you have to be open to the idea that McMahon's better hitter than Cody. Because because McMahon outplayed him in that situation this past year. But we're everyone watching this, myself, we're all watching this, we're all like, we don't value 7 games more than 162 in terms of projecting future outcomes. Emotionally, different. Emotionally, yes, every single playoff game matters so much more. But for projecting future outcomes, right, we're thinking we got to turn off, we got to have 2 brains, guys. We got to have 2 brains for baseball. Fan brain, emotion brain, how it makes us feel. And then roster construction, architecture stage, building teams, projecting out results or forecasting production. Can't be doing it off 7 games. And look, I do think there's credence to the argument. I do like the idea of the Yankees having different profiles. That's what appeals to me with Bichette the most, probably. There's not really a hitter like Bichette in the Yankee lineup. And if you could get Bichette and you could get Bellinger, I have no issues with Bichette coming in. I would trade Jazz and make that happen. So that's where I'm at with that. If you can have Bichette and Bellinger, I'd love it. And I think that people again, like we talk about. I've said it a million times. We talk about the offense. We talk about they beat up on weak teams. The Yankees were one of the best offenses in baseball against playoff teams. Finished top 10 in OPS against playoff teams in the regular season. Against the Blue Jays, they hit pretty well actually. Against the Blue Jays during the regular season, they gave up 1 million runs. The reason the Yankees couldn't beat the Blue Jays this past year is because the Blue Jays killed their pitching staff all throughout the year. Blue Jays went to the World Series. Now, I don't think the Blue Jays pitching staff was the best in the American League. Can we all agree there? There are better pitching staff probably out there. Red Sox, I think, had a better pitching staff than you did. And the Blue Jays. Not the Red Sox had one of the best pitching staff in the American League. Those kinds of things. The Blue Jays, they can slap the ball around. That's great. That's awesome. That's cool. That's great. That's awesome. That's great. Home runs. How many home runs did the Blue Jays hit in the postseason? How many home runs did Blue Jays hit in the postseason? How much of the Yankees' numbers inflated by Judge? Let's look at that. Let's look at that. I love doing this. Let's do it. Homers don't win the game. Sam, what is a postseason team's record when they out-homer the opponent? Let's all answer the question. Guys, do you guys want that number? Do we want how did playoff teams do when they out-homered their opponent? I'm going to pull this tweet out. I can't wait. I love it. This is my favorite discourse. I love it. I love having these conversations, fellas. Love having these conversations because I love making sure we're on the same page. I love it. The team that the team that out-homers wins over 75% of playoff games. They beat us not out-homering. Hold on. Let's look at this. 4 ALDS games, Yankees versus Blue Jays. The Yankees hit 4 home runs. The Blue Jays hit 9 home runs against the Yankees. That's fascinating. Is that because they were peppering hits everywhere, or is that because they were hitting the absolute piss out of the baseball out of the yard? Averaging over 2 home runs a game against the Yankees. That's pretty interesting. I find that fascinating. Huh. Home runs, when you out-homer your opponent, you win. When you out-homer your opponent, you win. So home runs do matter. You got to be a home run hitting team. You got to be a home run hitting team. Have to. You just have to. You have to be able to out-homer your opponent. You got to have more firepower. Pretty sure the win rate for, like, out-homering your opponent was, like, 80% if you take over, like, the last 3, 4, 5 postseasons. If you hit home runs, you out-homer your opponent, you're going to win. You're just going to win. You're going to win. So we can't have the conversation of, you don't want to hit home runs. No, you need to hit home runs. And look again with Bichette. I don't think I made this point. I think it's bat path diversity. Like you look at your lineup and you got a bunch of different swings in there. You want to have different swings, right? Just like with pitching staff, you want to have different looks. You don't want 7 relievers and all of them are lefties, high slot lefties, 4-seam curveball. You don't want that. And yes, we do need better starters. Mood swing. We need better starters, brother. I agree. Pitching staff's not good. This pitching staff is not good enough. If the Yankees go into 2026 with this pitching staff, they're going to get crushed in the regular season. And if they get to the postseason, they're going to get crushed in the postseason, buddy. Even if guys come back and are healthy. Because that pitching staff isn't deep enough. Guys are going to get hurt. They're going to lose some guys during the year. They need more. They need more swing and miss in the bullpen and in the rotation. They need more firepower then, baby. They need more firepower there. Carlos Carrasco's available. Dude, Carlos Carrasco, we signed Carlos Carrasco, man. I'm going to be saying some things in this podcast, and I don't think a lot of people are going to like him. And yeah, I did want Emai because of that. Emai's a swing and miss guy. I wanted Emai. The reason I got worked up is because it's like specific to the Yankees in what they didn't offer. Nobody else offered that. Clearly the industry knows something I don't. So we'll see. But when it comes to the offense, Bichette is a different kind of hitter from what you got. He's a different kind of hitter than what you got. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a reason why you should want him. But I think Bellinger is a better fit for the roster than Bichette is in a vacuum on his own. Just on his own. Because I don't think that Bo is like considerably better than Jazz. I just don't. The Yankees are not signing Bichette and Bellinger. I don't think that's going to happen. If the Yankees spend $55 million on 2 players, I'll jump for joy, man. I won't do anything crazy for the sake of my reputation, but I'd be a really happy individual. I don't think it's happening though, fellas. It's not happening. No, I don't think Bo's better than Cody. I don't. What makes Bo Bichette? Bo Bichette is a better hitter than Cody Bellinger. Duh. but a better fit for the roster. Jazz Chisholm outplayed Bo last year, if you factor in defense and base running and offense. Now, is Jazz, maybe not the guy you want to be paying 9 figures to? Maybe, I don't know. Injury risk, all that stuff. Let's have the conversation. What stat did Bo Bichette lead Jazz in? OPS plus and WR. He was a better hitter. Jazz led the American League in error. No one cares. Fellas, we don't care about errors. We don't care about errors in this. We care about fielding run value. We care about defensive runs saved. We care about how impactful you are defensively. Because what makes an error and what doesn't make an error is not indicative of whether it makes it a good or bad defensive play. What does that mean? Okay. There's a ball to my left. I need to get to that ball. Every second baseman in baseball can get to that ball. Right? Every second baseman in baseball can get to that ball. I don't get to that ball because I'm too slow-footed. I don't make contact with the ball. It gets through, and it gets into the outfield. That is a base hit. It's not an error. It's a base hit. Even though the average second baseman gets to that ball, because you didn't make contact, that's not an error. Bottom of the ninth with 2. But baseball is not about there. You play more than just that one scenario. Why would you build a baseball team off of one scenario that isn't guaranteed to happen? It might come up. How many times is bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, runner in scoring position going to come up for you? How many times is that going to happen? Tell me, how many times in a baseball game is that going to happen? It can only happen at most once, and it's probably not going to happen every single game. Why would you build a baseball team because of one situation? One. You do not build baseball teams off one situation. What about this? Bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, runners in scoring position, ground ball hit to second base. Who would you rather have standing there to field the ball? You'd rather have Jazz than Bo Bichette. How many Jazz never played? We're talking about health? We're talking about health with Bo Bichette? Bo Bichette hasn't played 150 games in 3 years. Bo Bichette his body's deteriorating. The guy's gone from an above-average runner to one of the slowest guys in the league. Come on, man. Bo has had 3 seasons not playing 150 games. 3 straight. He had a knee sprain to end last year. Yet Jazz has some bad moments. But if you watched Bo Bichette play baseball, if you watch Bo Bichette play baseball, you'd walk away with flaws and go, wow, this, that's a flaw, that's a problem, glove's a problem, speed's a big issue, can't run at all, swing decisions are bad. There are things you're going to walk away with going, oof. I think Bo's a good fit for the Yankee roster offensively. He's a better fit than Jazz offensively. Bo Bichette offensively is a better fit than Jazz Chisholm. He played 100, so that means he did not play 150 games in 3 straight years, Sam. He didn't play 150 games 3 straight years, Sam. He played 81 games in 24. He played 139 in 25 and missed the end of the season and missed all of the postseason except for the World Series with a knee sprain. And he's only gotten slower over the years. He's only going to get older. He's only become more of a problem on the bases. We cannot sit here. Still came back and raked. That's great. It's great. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Great. Awesome. He still missed the time. He still didn't play. He didn't play. He didn't play the games. He's slower now. He's more hurt. He's been injury prone. I would love to trade for Ketel Marte. The price tag's way high. Yankees can't afford it. What did Ryan McMahon do in the Jazz hit in the postseason in 6 games? Ryan McMahon hit in the postseason in 6 games. Is Ryan McMahon a good freaking hitter because of 6 playoff games? Unless you say yes to that question, you can't go, well, Jazz hit in the postseason. Who cares what he did in the regular season? Can't do it. You can't do that. You got to have it both ways. I do want a right-handed catcher, Ryan Jeffers. Pull those. Ryan Jeffers would fit this roster like a glove. Kills lefties, crushes them, hits well against them, gets on base at a good rate. Love Jeffers. Issue is the glove, but he's not going to play a ton. I think you're good. Yeah, it's a great. Is Ernie Clement better than Mike Trout? Is Ernie Clement better than Vlad? Is Ernie Clement is Ernie Clement a superstar? We don't value players off of hits. We value players off of more advanced things now, guys. We have ways to evaluate players in ways that just aren't batting average and total hits. Look, is Ernie Clement better than Shohei Ohtani offensively? Ernie Clement strikes out less than Shohei Ohtani. I think, I could be wrong. I will correct myself if I'm wrong. I think they had a similar batting average. 277 to 281 in Shohei's favor. Is Ernie Clement a better player than Shohei Ohtani offensively? In the postseason, Ernie Clement set the fucking record for the most hits ever in the postseason. And out-hit Shohei Ohtani. Is Shohei Ohtani a worse hitter than Ernie Clement? He strikes out less. He hits for a similar average. Is Ernie Clement a better hitter than Shohei Ohtani? He out-hit him in the postseason. Is Ernie Clement a better hitter than George Springer? Is Ernie Clement a better hitter than Alejandro Kirk? Is Ernie Clement, if we take postseason and we say the postseason matters so much that we're going to start ranking players off this shit and strikeout rate and batting average, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to rank players off that. Let's take regular season stats. Would you take Jacob Wilson over Bobby Witt Jr. offensively? Jacob Wilson makes more contact. He plays the same position. He hits for a higher average. Is Jacob Wilson a better hitter than Bobby Witt Jr.? No, Cam's performance against the Red Sox was great, but I wouldn't consider Cam Schlittler the best pitcher in baseball after the postseason. No, you would not take Jacob Wilson over Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby Witt Jr. is a better hitter than Jacob Wilson. He's a better hitter. He slugs more, higher OPS. You need guys who pick up a strong OBP. You want guys who get on base. You want a lineup that has versatility, that can shuffle guys around against lefties and righties. You want a lineup that has some offensive diversity. I agree that you wouldn't want a lineup where all 9 of your guys are different variations of just everyone strikes out 30% of the time and hits 30 home runs. You don't want that, because if you face, usually those kinds of hitters can struggle against like high fastballs, and if you have like 8 guys struggle against high fastballs, you just got to find a pitching staff. If you're the opposing pitching staff, you just got to find a guy who can reliably throw the fastball up, and yeah, you lock up that whole lineup. You need to have lineup diversity. One thing the Blue Jays did very well, if you look at their guys and you kind of look at their swings, everybody can kind of they can change their bat paths, their bat angles and everything, depending on pitch location. They do a really good job. Like their bat control is pretty good up and down that lineup. And they had like 11 guys you could consistently play in a starting lineup. The Yankees need playoff performance. They currently have very few. You don't acquire guys on postseason performance, guys. Guys, please. Guys, we're above this. We're above this, fellas. Fellas, we're above it. We don't need to do it. We don't need to do it. We're above it, fellas. We're above it. 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 We're going to start wrapping things here soon. It's been over an hour of conversation here, and I really enjoy this. This has been fun. This has been fun. I really enjoy just going back and forth, talking ball. Christopher Foster. I'm sorry. That's really funny. Breaking news. Yankees signed Eugenio Suarez. We signed him to a 3-year, $80 million contract. I'll drive my car into a wall at full speed. I don't take it personal, man. It's baseball. We're having a baseball conversation, my fellas. I don't think it makes anybody lesser of an individual because I don't agree with you on baseball. Happy New Year, my guy. Do you think George Lombard Jr. projects better as a shortstop or second base when he reaches MLB first? Chris, thank you for the super chat, Chris. You're the man. I really appreciate you. Hope you had a Happy New Year as well to you and yours. I think George Lombard Jr. is a shortstop. I think the arm talent is much better than your median shortstop prospect. And I will also say this. I think that the range and the intangibles are really, really good. If you look at, if you watch him play baseball, right, you watch him field, he's really good out there. There's a lot of scouts have a lot of good to say about him. So, I think George Lombard Jr. sticks at shortstop. The question is the bat. We'll see what the bat ends up being. So, yeah. Ryan, what if we sign IKF as a left fielder if we don't sign Bellinger again? Car goes straight into a wall. End of the day on base percentage, Jazz 330, Bo 357. Look, just offense. I am all in. All in on Bo being the better hitter than Jazz. Like, do not worry, guys. It is, trust me. I'm aware. I believe that. I believe it. But I'm talking the totality of the baseball player here. The bat needs development. Yep. Yeah, Lombard has to become a better hitter. Jones going to hit 40 bombs this year. God, I wish I could be that optimistic. Quan and Bo, what do you think? I know that Chris NYY on Twitter has been the one really pushing that. I'd be really happy. I'd be a happy guy. Get your elite defensive left fielder. Get a guy who can hit. Swing the stick. Yeah, that'd be great. But I don't think they can afford trading for Quan and then getting a star. Like, I don't think that's going to work the way the Yankees want it to. I like Quan. He's a good player. Like, this is not the indictment of Steven Kwan. I like Steven Kwan. I just don't think it's going to happen. That's the question is not. I'm giving you the answer of how I would feel if it happened, and then my thoughts on whether it will happen or not. So, that in the third. Boom. Giving you both. Yankees are better than the Mets. I think. I don't know. I think the Yankees need to get better. A-Rod's a shit. Used to rock his cleats back in the day. A-Rod rocks. A-Rod rocks as a hitter. Rocks as a player. Don't know if he rocks as an analyst, but he rocks as a player. Rocked as a player. We need to trade the Dodgers, to be honest. They got good starting pitching. I feel like giving them Jazz Chisholm for, like, starters is just... I'd cry a little bit in terms of, like, they're just going to win the World Series, aren't they? What else we got? I think the fan base will finally start dumping on Curry. I think the majority were dumping on Curry because they didn't believe the stuff. Because he was saying stuff we didn't want to hear. I agree. And I got to say this. Like, dude, so many people were like, he's wrong. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's like, dude, I think people were giving him so much shit for not having anything to talk about. And it was so weird. It was like, dude, what do you want him to talk? Like, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Like, he has nothing to talk about. It's not his fault. He's on the fucking Yankees. He can't make him do something. But, yeah, that's neither here nor there. The Yankees out completely on Sarker? Yes, probably. Yeah, they haven't had a great third baseman since A-Rod. Like, Gio gave him a couple of fun years, but he's not a great third baseman. He was a good one. And again, it was a couple of really good years. Not all news are good news. I agree. That's a good point, too. The Rockies give Bauer a spring training invite. God, no. Hell no. Be mad at Hal and not Curry? Yeah, I agree. Take it out on Hal Steinbrenner, not on Jack Curry. So many people were just, like, dicking on him for, like, 48 hours. Jack Curry, Rocky Rivera. Jack Curry. Yes, analyst, reporter. Yeah, fills a lot of shoes. Author as well. Wrote the book about the 1998 Yankees, which I don't listen to a lot of audiobooks, but I did listen to that audiobook. Will the Yankees get Bichette? What's your opinion? Probably not. I don't buy it. Not that I don't buy it. They checked in. I just don't buy that they're going to get him. Get Hayes, sign Belly, and be done on bats. I do want both Hayes and Bellinger. I want Hayes and Bellinger. So, yeah. So we'll see what ends up happening here. Hey, we're going to, we need to sign Bellinger and then Suarez / Gallen. I don't think they're signing Ranger Suarez or Zach Gallen. That's my opinion. But we'll see. We're going to start wrapping things up here on Fireside Yankees. We got a lot that we talked about. And we're going to be going live a few more times, I think, this week. I think I'm going live tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Yes, going live tomorrow. Probably not going to go live Saturday. Actually, no, not going to go live Saturday or Sunday, but going to go live again on Monday at 8. So we'll have 2 more live streams, or we'll have another live stream for the weekend. And, yeah. AJ, good question. Is Jason a Yankee next month? I will say no. I'll say that they trade him for a starter. I hope. Well, not that I want Jason gone, but I think the only way they're going to get starters trading Jason, and I want a starter, so that supersedes the like for Jason Dominguez. Anywho, we're wrapping this up here. Appreciate you guys so much. We really want to thank you guys for all the support. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy New Year once again to you and yours. Yeah, let's go Yankees, baby. Have a great one. Peace out, y'all. Deuces. And I'm not going to be in Central Park eating a chopped cheese, although I would love to. I would love to go out there and eat a chopped cheese. That'd be the greatest. I like a chopped cheese. I haven't had one in a while. So I'll get on that at some point, Rocky. We'll see y'all